Hello, Noble Day. This is another little session of E108 tutorials. Today, I'm going to show you how you can actually set up your gradebook. So many of us have been learning how to use the gradebook, and I just thought maybe I would give you some tips. So hopefully it helps a little bit. First things first, log into MYEDBC just like I am here. And then my suggestion to do is, this is really going to help the grade 10, 11, 12s more than the grade 8 and 9s. But some of it will still be applicable for those of you teaching grade 8s or grade 8s and 9s. I can't show you any grade 8 and 9 stuff because I don't have any grade 8 and 9 classes, but I can kind of fudge it a little bit here and there. All right, so first things first, click on your name and go to Set Preferences. So in here, you're going to want to go to Gradebook. And I put tab direction down, so that means if I'm recording a bunch of marks into MYEDBC, I can use the tab button, and that'll go to the cell down below. You can also use the down arrow as well. If you scroll down a little bit, this is the kind of important part that you will want to take a look at. Default weighting. So we've got different kinds here. My suggestion would be to go to categories and assignments. And that would be your best option. That will let you create weighted assignments for those of you in grades 10, 11, 12 if you'd like to do that. If you're just teaching grades 8 and 9, just go to categories only or category total points. Either of those will be just fine. But for grades 10, 11, 12, I suggest going to categories and assignments, and that will allow you to create weighted assignments. Decimals, that means if you wanted to say like 84.93 or 84.9, or you want it to round up to 85. So I leave it at 0 because we don't put decimal percentages into our report cards, so I just leave it at 0. Grade scale. It'll probably look like this for you. There'll be nothing there. So if you click on grade scale and then you click on that little magnifying glass, that will give you the whole list. If you're teaching grades 8 and 9, you would like this one here, emerging, developing, proficient, and extending. That's our new terminology for this year, so that's the one that you will want to select. If you're teaching grades 10, 11, 12, we have to give a percentage. So my suggestion to you is you come up here and you go to the next page, and I would choose one of these three here because you can see they're out of 100, right? So that'll give you a percentage. So I just choose the final mark one. Now this is my preferences. So what that means is that it's going to actually apply to all of my grade books from now on. So if I'm just teaching grade 10, 11, 12s, this is what I would want to see in my preferences here, where I selected under my name. If I'm just teaching grades 8 and 9, then all I would need would be category total points, and I would choose that gradebook that I showed you with the beginning, developing, proficient, and extending one. So once you've got that set, you can hit OK. So as I said, that will be your preferences for when you go to your classes for those gradebooks. You can always go into a particular class itself and make those any changes that you want to, that you see fit. All right, so one other thing I wanted to show you in your preferences here is if you need to change your password, that would be right under security. And then you can go and change your password right here. Okay, let's go to gradebook. So those of you that teach electives, I've kind of experienced this. So this is how administration and I have managed to handle my electives. If a student is in grade 12 and they have never taken, say, animation before, counselors will put them into animation 12, even though they don't have any experience with computer animation previously. So in the past that's been fine, but now I can't really have them in animation 12 with other Animation 12 students that this is their third year or fourth year taking computer animation. So they're on a totally different skill level. So what we've done is, you can see here I've designed, administration made a Fine Arts and Applied Skills class for me. And so that's where I put students who are in either grade 11 or grade 12 that have never taken animation or photography for me before, and I slide them in there. So then when I linked my classes, I linked Photography 10 and Fine Arts and Applied Skills 11. I linked those together because those are all my beginners. And then Photography 11 and Photography 12, I linked those classes together because they're both experienced. And you see here how I've renamed them to Intro, and then Intermediate and Intermediate. So unfortunately I can't combine those classes together, but at least I can link them. So hopefully that makes some sense. All right, so I'm going to go to one of my classes here. So I'm going to go to my, I'm going to go to a small one. This one right here. The reason I'm choosing a small class is because it's going to be less names to have to blur out. All right, so when I go to my class in my gradebook, under details, you'll see right here, average mode, gradebook default. So it's using the default that I set in my preferences up here. Same with my grade scale. If I want to make those changes, I can make them right here at this particular point. So that's what that's referring to. It says gradebook default. It's referring to the ones I set under my preferences. So I'm happy with that. If I want to make categories, there's two ways to do it, or bins as a lot of you refer to them as. They're down here. And so this is how I've broken up my categories, right? So their projects are worth 60% of their mark. Their self-evaluation is worth 20% of their mark, and then their written work is worth 20% of their mark. So that equals 100. So if you want to create a bin or a category, you won't have any of this. So you will click on the plus sign. So here you'll put your code, and I'm going to put class work. So can't put any spaces in there, or if you need a space, please use an underscore, which would look like that. Okay. Here you can be a little bit more descriptive. Whoops. And then here you would give it a percentage. Let's say that's going to be worth 15% of their overall mark. So you don't have to put the percentage. Then you will hit the check mark. Now it's a little finicky, the check mark, but click on that. Once you get it, you will see it all kind of flash like that, and then it will show up. And so here you can see, here it is. But now I'm not going to add up to 100%. That's why it's made these adjustments for me on the bottom. So once I import my different bins, so if I want to create another one, I can hit plus. I can make another one. So let's say this is humor. Making the teacher laugh. And I'm going to make that worth good old 50%. So I'll hit the check mark. Okay, so there they are there. Now, I'm not done though. I have to hit save. So whenever you see a save button or an OK button, hit them, no matter what. So I'm going to hit save. And so now that's going to keep those. But I don't want those. So I'm going to hit edit and put 0. And then I'm going to put edit here and put 0. So I really don't want them. And then I will hit save. Okay, if I want those gone altogether, I can click on it here, and then I can delete. And that one, delete. So that is my bins. Now if I've linked classes together like I was talking about before, it will copy these categories to those linked classes. So word of advice, link your classes first, then make your categories. Because if you start making a category in one class and then you link them and then you start adding more categories, you're going to get into some big problems. So link your classes first, then make your categories. Now that I've made my categories, I can make an assignment. So I can go to assignments. Whoops, I'm going to hit save just because I don't want those two that I made. I'm going to go to assignments. So under assignments, I can make a new assignment along here. So I can go options, add assignment, and that will bring up this window. The other option is under scores, where I'll enter my marks. And if my assignments aren't here, make sure you are in term 1 and that you are under all. By default, you'll go to this one, right? Make sure you are on all. So if I want to create a new assignment, right, you can see here when I'm in the scores tab that I've got this add assignment tab here. And so I can click on that and it brings up the same window. Okay. So first thing you do is you choose your bin or your category. Give it a name. Focal length. Focal length. Date assigned and date due. So I assigned this on Friday and it was due today. Total points. So I can, it's out of 4. And then assignment weight. So that's for those of you that play with your weighting. I want to make that assignment worth twice as much as other ones. I can put a 2 in there or a 0.5. And that's where you can adjust your weighting. So that's why I had to choose that particular scaling that I did. If you're wanting to use the portal a lot, you can allow online submissions. I use Google Classroom, so I don't really need to worry about that. If you want to make sure that you can put in extra credits, then you would select this, and then you can decide how many extra credits you can give them. Okay, you can play around with that. And then you can see that that's going to get copied to these classes as well that I've linked. Under portal description, in here I can put in a description for what parents and students can see. Describing focal length to a novice. Right, there's that save button, so I'm going to hit save. And now I've got that new assignment. And then I can, once I'm ready, I can start putting my marks in. Because I use tab for down, I'll hit tab and it takes me down. That little bubble, I can give feedback to the student or I can just make a personal note. All right, I hope this helps you a little bit with your setup of your gradebook. And as always, if you need help, come see me in E108. Thanks for watching this new edition of E108 tutorials.